So today I'm going to be teaching you how to do one of my favorite card tricks, one of the first card tricks I ever learned, and one I still do all the time. It's right out of the Royal Road of Card Magic. The Royal Road to Card Magic is, if you're at all serious about getting into card magic, is one of the best books for that. It is basically the Bible of card magic. I'll have a link to that in the description. So the trick is called the Poker Player's Picnic, and it's easy. It's absolutely mind-blowing. People are not going to have any idea how you do it, and if you perform it well, it's just going to completely fry everybody. So first I'll show you the trick, and then I'll show you how it's done. Let's take a look. So I was at a party recently, and a guy there was talking about poker, and specifically poker cheating. And he said people who play poker and people who cheat at poker are really overrated, that society puts this huge myth about these amazing card cheats. But it's actually not that hard, is what he says. And he says, here, I'll show you. And it was just me and a couple other guys there. And he goes, here, he passes the deck and he says, why don't you cut the deck in, like a quarter? And he looks to somebody else and he says, you cut the deck in a quarter as well. And finally he looks to me and says, you cut the deck in a quarter as well. And I said, okay. So we got these 4 piles. And he points to the first guy there and he says, pick up the deck and why don't we take off 3 cards. So the guy goes 1, 2, 3 cards off. And he says, distribute 1 card on each of the other decks. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Very easy. He says, the second person, you do the same thing. We're going to take 3 off the top. And we're going to put 1, 2, 3. The same thing happens with the third person. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And he pointed to me and he says, you do the same thing. You go, well, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Simple. But he said, after all that, you cut the deck in weird places. We took some cards from the top, we put them on the bottom, we took some cards from there and put them on each of the other decks. After all of that, it's not so hard with just a snap of the finger to gather all of the same card. So that was a Poker Player's Picnic from the Royal Road to Card Magic. It's one of my favorite tricks to perform when I was just getting into magic, and a lot of magicians learn it when they first start because it's easy. It requires almost no sleight of hand, and it teaches you a lot about performance, scripting, and sequencing, because what you say and how you perform it is 99% of the difficulty of this trick. So all you need is 4 of the same card. Normally people use aces, but I like the 8s, so we're going to use the 8s. You have to take those 4 cards, and they start on the top of the deck. If you know any false cuts or shuffles, which I teach in another video, then you can go ahead and start the trick there while you're talking, while you're giving your explanation. Oh, I knew a poker guy, he was talking about cheating and how it was overrated. You can use those false cuts or shuffles now. But to start, you still have your 8s on the top. So you put the deck down, and you can do this for 1 person, 2 person, 4 people is the best, but you can do this for any number of people, at least 1. Have them cut about 3/4 off, and then again, so that you have 4 approximately equal piles. And you as the magician know that the 8s are here, all 4 of them. Start by having someone pick up the far deck on the other side of the 8s, not the 8s, and they start by taking 1, 2, 3 cards off. Now this pretty much doesn't do anything. All of our 8s are still here. But this is setting up precedent. This is something that's going to be very important later. So make sure we do that, and then we're going to put 1 card here, 1 card here, and 1 card here. One of the things you can do is you can try to be nonchalant when you say, let's take 3 cards. So it sounds like it could be any number, we just went with 3. We're going to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. Again, this doesn't do anything at this point, it's just mixing the cards. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. No problem. Do the same thing again here. Just be interesting, make jokes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now, we're in a situation where we have this pile here. 3 cards down are the 4 8s. But on top of them are these 3 cards. So we go to the last person, or the same person again, and we say, okay, take the top 3 cards and put them on the bottom, which they do. And now your 4 8s are back on top. Everything we did before, at least in regards to this pack, has completely been undone. And when they put 1, 2, 3, 4, even though it looks like you've just mixed the hell out of 4 freely cut packs, the 4 8s are right on top. And they'll be blown away and give you lots of money and you'll be famous. And, yeah. Some advanced tips for performing the Poker Players Picnic. If you can, try to perform for more than one person. This works absolutely great on one-on-one, but if you have 2 or 3, or preferably 4 audience members, that's really where this trick shines, in my opinion, because you can have one person do each of the packs of cards, which breaks up the monotony for the original performer, like the one person doing all the moves, and it kind of makes more sense. Like what one person does, everyone's going to do. It just makes a little bit more sense, and it's a little bit less sequence of events-y that some of these tricks have. Another thing is if you're a little bit more advanced and you don't want to use just the Poker Players Picnic, but you want to use some of the ideas, you can actually use the Poker Players Picnic idea of moving the cards around to reveal 4 chosen cards. So I'm not going to get into how you force it or how you control them, but if you're in a position where 4 previously chosen cards, either by 4 spectators or one person choosing 4, has been controlled to the top of the deck secretly, you can then do the whole thing again, where you do the 3 down, 3 across, 3 down, 3 across, and at the end you take the 3 from the top, put on the bottom, and go here like this, and after that everyone's moved all these cards around, 4 freely chosen cards significantly earlier in the effect, and then now all 4 of the cards appear, even though they've done all the shuffling and moving. So that's a great way to use Poker Players Picnic in a more advanced way.